Good afternoon, everybody. Pigskin Pete here. Happy Tuesday to everybody. So I just am now catching up on some of the Big Ten Media Day interviews. And I had to make a video on Jim Harbaugh. I know I've made several videos about Michigan and it's sort of like beating a dead horse at this point. But there's just some things I got to point out about this guy. Now, the first and most notable thing about this interview, I don't know if anybody saw his press conference, his interview at Media Days. I challenge you to try to stay awake for the entire 16-minute interview. After 8 minutes, I was already starting to get drowsy. After 10 minutes, my head was starting to nod. It was painful, painful, painful. And talk about a guy who can talk for 16 minutes and say nothing. He must have trained Russell Wilson from the Seattle Seahawks on how to do interviews. A couple of guys who talk for hours on end and not say anything. He takes coach speak to a whole nother level. Now, one question that he was asked, with all the talk about expanding the college football playoff, you have different coaches saying different things. For instance, I think when Dabo Swinney was asked about that, he said he likes it at 4 and would stay at 4. You have other coaches that say that they should go to 6 or 8. Well, of course, Jim Harbaugh, being the odd man out, the oddball that he is, he wants to go to 16 teams. Now, whether or not you agree with that or not, I don't. I think that 16 is way too many. I don't think the 16th best team in the country at the end of the year has a chance to win a national title. I think the chances are 1% or lower of that happening. But my theory on this is, well, let's look at Jim Harbaugh's 3-year, going into his 4th year career at Michigan. He is about somewhere in the top 20 finishing every year. Probably right around what? Let's say 16. So for a guy who knows that he's not going to get into the top 5 on any sort of regular basis and be one of either the 4th team in or the one left out, he knows that his only real shot at getting a chance in the playoffs, in his mind, or his most legitimate shot, is to be a highly seeded, 15th or 16th seed, ergo a 16-team playoff. Well, Pigskin Pete, how can you sit there and say that he has no shot, even in the 4-team system, to make a college football playoff? Well, show me why I would think that, please. The fact is, let's just look at 2017. You could look at all 3 years if you want to, but that'll be a very long video. We just have to go back to last year, not hard. Michigan lost 5 games last year. 5. Count them. They lost 4 Big Ten games. That's right, 4. Count them. They can't beat Ohio State. They have a losing record to Penn State. They have a losing record to Michigan State. They have never finished better than 3rd in their own division. So no. I don't think they have a shot to get into the playoff. I know that they're the sweetheart pick, dark horse pick, whatever you want to call it, to come and win the Big Ten and make a college football playoff berth this year. I'm not buying it. Prove it to me. I haven't seen anything that even comes close to that. Usually you don't go from being 3rd in your division every year to all of a sudden being one of the 4 best teams in the country just because you went and got a graduate transfer, or not a graduate transfer, a transfer quarterback. I'm not buying the fact of people saying that the only piece that they're missing is a quarterback. The only piece they're missing is a quarterback. All right, let's just say that is true. Let's say that that's all that they've needed all these years that Jim Harbaugh has been there. He's just been missing a good quarterback. Well, who do we have to blame for that? We have Jim Harbaugh to blame for that. For a guy who's making $9 million a year or whatever it is, he's either the highest paid or the second highest paid coach in the country. Why can you not recruit a top-tier quarterback and translate that to wins on the field? There is absolutely no excuse for that. None. Not to mention being the highest paid head coach in the Big Ten, even more than Urban Meyer, okay? He can't beat Urban Meyer, number one, but that's besides the point. As far as recruiting goes, last year, this last recruiting class, 2018, Jim Harbaugh was the 21st ranked recruiting class in 2018. 21st. Now, for a guy who makes $9 million a year, is the highest paid coach in the Big Ten, he was the 3rd best recruiting class in the Big Ten. That's right, the 3rd. And I would like to challenge any of you Any of you who want to criticize my views on this, or any Michigan fan who has a problem with hearing the truth from Pigskin Pete, when is the last time that any school who was constantly a 20th ranked recruiting class won a natty? Good luck finding that one. And last but not least, a reporter asked him the question that we all wanted to know, and we all wanted the answer from Jim Harbaugh's mouth himself, was, Jim, how do you feel going into the season knowing that you've lost multiple straight games to Ohio State, have a losing record of Michigan State and Penn State, and have never finished better than third in your own division? And what was Jim Harbaugh's answer? We just have to get better and win championships. That's how. Well, no crap, Jim, but how do you plan on doing that? Jim Harbaugh, proof that wearing reading glasses and khakis does not make you smarter. Pigskin Pete checking out.